Welcome back, guys. Anyone who's new and like what I'm doing, please subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment. These will pop up every Tuesday or Thursday. I'm not 100% sure yet. Until fishing is okay again around here. So, first thing we're gonna do is go over what you need. I am painting a micro crawfish and a golden brown, custom made up off the top of my head. I don't have any pictures or anything. I'm just gonna go off of what I know, off what I've seen. So, first thing you need, this isn't necessarily needed, but I'll show you two different ways. This here is a stencil by a anarchy model company in the UK. They make these little fine creature mold stencils, I guess you can call them. Malted micro is what they call it. Next thing, actually, this is for dots. I really feel like I'm not gonna use this. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see. This here for me is important. This is golden mesh, metallic golden mesh. You can order it off Amazon. You can buy it at Hobby Lobby, any of those art supply stores. The next thing you're gonna need is some clamps. Got alligator clamps and some clothesline clamps. I guess that's what you call them, but they're micro, they're small. Next thing you're gonna need, of course, is your colors. I'm gonna throw a little hint of light blue in here just to complement the browns. Black, slightly transparent, or you can go solid black. You don't have to follow my colors to a T. This here is brown or ochre. I might be saying it wrong, but I'll leave a list in the descriptions of the colors. White, I mixed a little hint of silver in it, pearlize silver. This is the enhancer that I was talking about in the other video. And then yellow with a hint of gold in it. True gold I'm not gonna use, but this is what I mixed the yellow with so that I can get some enhancement, some pearlize. So the very first thing we're gonna do is make sure our airbrush is on. It's already on, the compressor's set, and we're gonna jump right into these. You also need a stencil. I made this with a Cricut. No, my bad, it wasn't a Cricut, it wasn't a Cricut. Silhouette something. It's been a while, but these are old. I never used it. It looks a little big, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shortcut and show you guys just the sides. And I'm gonna go over the top with just the flat. That's another thing you need. Also some eyes, but I'm gonna literally take the eyes and take a permanent marker and just go over them solid black. All right, so now that we're ready to start, first thing we need to do is base coat this bad boy with the white. Make sure everything is good with the airbrush. It seems kind of stiff. All right, base coating it with white. I said before, you don't want to start right on the lure. You might want to spray and double check how it's going to spray out. This white here is really thin, so it's spraying out with a hint of bubbles, or not perfectly spraying it super clear, which is fine because I need texture for these crawfish. All right, so now that layer is sprayed, I'm going to heat set that, make sure that those paints are good and dry. And of course, while I'm heat setting, I am going to cut that part out. So you'll hear the beginning of it and we'll instantly jump into the next step. All right, our next step is the yellow. I'm not gonna clean the brush out because I kind of want that yellow to not be as heavy. And I want it to kind of fade between the white and yellow. 10 drops, nothing crazy. And you can spray the entire body or not. I'm gonna spray the top side and leave the bottom open. Heat set this color. All right, so the next step is you want to just wrap these up. You can single wrap. See what I mean by getting scratched up? This metal leaflet stuff is metal mesh. It's no joke. All right, so wrap that. And then clamp it over the front. Because it's micro, it only has one eyelet for your hook. Then put it back on there. And it's not perfectly laid down, but this is just to create texture. If the lower was bigger, I would wrap it like 2 or 3 times just to make it more defined. All right. The next color you want. Actually, I'm gonna go with the blue underbelly with this stuff on here. So I'm gonna go with the light blue. So my final step will be the black. I ordered another jar of KBS and it'll be here on Tuesday, and I'll dip all of these and have them ready to go. So just need a little bit of blue. I have not cleaned my brush out yet. I'm leaving it as is. I'm just gonna go across the bottom. Actually, I'm gonna test this first before. Just make sure it's the light blue that I want, and it is. So just go underneath one side. This side has a lot of extra stuff in the way, which is fine, because I'm gonna let that use it as texture. Make sure you get in there real good, just underneath. All right, now that that is done, I'm gonna spray out the excess. Not clean the brush on purpose. And my next step will be the brown. Couple of drops of brown. Check it out, make sure it's good. All right. It has that bluish tint to it. So now you just want to go over the top. And it's really watered down now at this point, so. Spray one layer. This brown I'm using, technically it's really watered down. So you may want to just spray one layer really faint. It's gonna kind of create a overspray effect. So it's gonna look hard at first. And then heat set. While it's still hot, hit both of them again quickly. So at this time, it won't be nearly as wet. It'll start drying right away. Hit them with the overspray and heat set once again. And this next technique, now, originally I was going to use this stencil to create the dots and just put it right there over top of it and spray the black through. I prefer the freehand or freestyle, the black dots, and the easiest way to do it, I'm going to take the tip off of this. I'm probably going to regret it. With this one, I am going to put a little bit of black in, and I'm going to draw back as far as possible and all right, 3 drips. I really probably didn't need that much. I'm gonna pull back as far as possible, right? And load the tip with black. Just load the tip with black. And then with that technique, what I'm doing is it's gonna create specks. You can create as many specks as you want. You could do it as as much as you want or as little as you want. I'm hitting the tops and the sides. And also now that is done, this brush I am gonna clean out because I don't know if you guys can hear that. There is a really small air leak. I let someone borrow this brush and that's how they returned it. I have to fix that. Even though it worked in my favor right now, I do not want that to happen in the future. Next thing we're gonna do after the heat set is add the actual craw pattern. Okay, now that it's heat set, we're gonna take off this golden mesh. Let's see what we got so far. Nice. Dad's watching something silly in the background, I'm sure of it. I'm gonna go close his door. Alright, so we got our little ugly pattern for the crawfish. I probably should have made some more stencils micro, but I didn't. So I said I didn't make a micro crawl pattern, but I did. I didn't realize that I did. And I went and checked my 3-ring binder of stencils and this is in there. So our next step is to wrap this around that. Okay, so I'm gonna line these up. I feel like the alligator clamp would do better at holding this in place how I want it. I'm gonna only do these 2 for now and then loosen it up and get these closer. I'm gonna take the black and spray right along the edges there. And I'm gonna use my fine brush. Just 2 drops at a time, just to make sure that it's gonna spray out. Yeah. I'm using my F brush, the Sotar F fine, just to make sure that I don't get too much overspray. And after you spray it for a little bit, just clean the tip with your fingernails. So that this one looks more like a crawfish, I'm gonna just go right around and step it, move it up. I'm gonna do it that way. All right. This part's tricky because my left hand, I actually got a little shake in it. All right, here we go. and just literally next step like that. Technically, I should have the inverse of this to create that. And then I'm gonna take this and fold it over so that that line comes across the top. But before doing that, I am going to do the other side. Before even doing that, I'm gonna heat set it so that if I put my fingers on the other side, it doesn't smudge. How did I predetermine my line? There's a little line inside of that, if you can see it. It's a little line that I followed. Right. Make sure I got it lined up. Double check one more time. Trying to show you guys while doing this. A little bit hard. All right. So we got both sides. With the little hooks, I guess you would call them, on the craw where it looks like craw pattern. My next step is to go across the tops to run each of the points to come across and touch. But I added a special effect so it's not just a line straight across the top. Okay, make sure those hooks come to a right point. Yep. Getting these things lined up is tricky. Especially being on this small of a bait. Make sure your tip's clean. Just take your fingernail. And just spray right along the front. There is our first crossing. now that I realize it, I think I definitely did. I definitely did, because these fades should be the opposite way in most cases, or in all cases. Yeah. Yeah. Also, with the fade going the opposite way, maybe I should put the eyes back here. I got an idea. I'm gonna put the eyes back here on this one, leave the eyes up here on that one. So I'm gonna spray it back and with a little black so that it makes sense. That look like it's me. So it looks like it's running away. I'm thinking now maybe I should do the tail on the actual lip. That's the good thing about freestyling. All right, and then I'm gonna do some lines across the bottom to touch. And make sure I do them inverted versus the correct way. Fold that over and just go right along that edge. Go to the next little underline. The tricky part about these underlines is because that eyelid holder is right there, kind of in the way. This is a lot harder than it looks, getting that to sit on there with this in the way. Man, I'm hoping this is on screen, because I'm telling you, What I'm doing right now is really tricky with that thing in the way. And then it doesn't help that my fingers are in the way either. So just gotta hit that edge and close that up. Okay. So we have an inverted craw pattern. I'm not going to put the eyes in the front. I'm going to put two little eyes on this side and that side, and when I'm reeling it in, it'll look like the craw is running. But the next step is to take this tape off and actually spray the bill to look like a tail. Usually a tail has like flaps, like U shapes. Do I have something that I can trick that into looking? I'm gonna spray the tail with the brown so that it's transparent. I'm not gonna spray it with white first. I'm going to go straight to the brown. All this extra stuff I'm doing is not necessary. This is so thin, it's kind of going on like water. I'm gonna heat set that. All right, so I don't have a thing to create those little flaps that it's kind of hard to see, but it definitely looks like a crayfish running now. So I like that. I like that outcome. All right, so the next step is I gotta put the eyes on this one, and they're gonna go on the back side. But before I do that, I am going to take a permanent marker and color the eyes solid black. Great, so I blacked out two eyes, permanent marker. I have to pick those up and put them on there without that becoming back white. So the trick to that is a small thumbtack. Okay, so I got my thumbtack. I'm gonna take and press it down. Wait, first I'm gonna put some super glue on the back end of this. Man, that thing is coming out of there. I'm just gonna rub it around all over the back end. I'm gonna take my tack and I'm gonna just slightly press down and grab my eye. Make sure I can slide it around, and I got it. Put it on right on the side. one. Make sure I got it real good. Slide it around, got it. Put that one on the other side. I'm gonna let that dry. Heat set that. Actually, I'm not gonna heat set it just yet. I'm gonna do 2 more eyes so I can put them on this one. And I'm gonna cross along the body underneath, but I'm not gonna put that on the video because you already seen it done. It's kind of a time consumer. But we got this one done. Reverse creature. I may take some fine bristle and put it coming out of there. Just 2 pieces of bristle coming out. Maybe. See how those hooks look once it's on there. But I want to thank you all for watching this freestyle creature bait / crawfish. If you like what you see, leave a comment, subscribe, share. Thank you all and have a blessed day.